One of the main things I am concerned about is in terms of the students coming to lessons.
Okay.
There's quite a wide range with the students between those who are fully engaged and interested in learning and education within this virtual world compared to those who are completely disengaged and everything in between. I'm struggling to find how to get those students back on board.
All right, what is it that they're not doing? What are they not giving you then?
They seem to be not motivated. I'd ideally like them to be curious and excited to learn independently, to want to go away and find out new things. And I'm just finding that they're either not going away and completing homework that's been set, or not arriving to lessons prepared or with the work completed that they were supposed to have done.
Okay, so you're getting the dog ate my dinner excuses, are you?
Every excuse under the sun.
Okay, all right. So one of the things with those students is they often lack confidence, don't they? So we've got to think about, when was there a time that we developed, in the past in traditional classrooms in self-led learners? So let's think homework first of all, because that's one of the mechanisms that we've used where students have had to be self-directed, self-led learners. So when we ask our students to do homework, there are some things that we make sure happen each time, or we should make sure are happening each time. So the first one is they know what they're aiming for, and they know the standard. We should always expect the standard that we want of work. Let's not give them anything to do unless we're expecting a good standard. And we do that by showing them work from experts in the field or from their peers and breaking down what the critical aspects are of that to make that an excellent piece of work. So they know that, we've got that one in the bag. Secondly, they know the time frame for which they have to complete their work. And we've made sure that not just they know it, but their parents know it through the policies that we've set. So, and they know how to hand that homework in. Where do I actually put it? How do I give it in? And then thirdly, we give feedback for that work. And that's what the students look forward to most. If they're going to invest their time in it, they want to know what, they've invested their time in it. What do you think about it? And the worst thing we can do to any student at any age is to set them something that we then don't feed back on. And I'm talking about feedback properly. I'm not talking about just the odd tick, but that we actually give them proper feedback on. We should never really start any new piece before we've marked the piece before, especially if we want to build on it, or if we don't want to build on it. We need to acknowledge what they've done. So that's three really strong keys of how to keep students engaged with self-led learning. How's that going? Are you doing that in the online world at the moment?
Yeah, I think with the standards of what is expected, that's very clear. The students are already with that, with regular classroom learning. The deadlines, as you say, the students know exactly when it's due. And that's very clear. If there's any variation in that, it's clearly communicated. Feedback within reason is achieved. I think that's one thing that is a struggle virtually. In a normal classroom, you can give a good, decent piece of feedback, especially verbally, very quickly, 10 seconds with a child, explaining what to do, steps for future. But I think virtually, that's one thing that I'm looking for ways of making that quicker. But the children in general are getting feedback for those tasks.
I'm going to say to you that's the most important one of the three. You've got to make that a priority. And the way to do that, so that it's not too time consuming, but that it is meaningful. All right. There's no point in just putting a tick on a piece of work. Every student can see through that you've spent no time at all. Your peer collaboration is one, so they're already helping shape that piece of work by working. Collaboration is absolutely key in learning. But also you can do voice notes to students, yeah? And the tone of your voice, again, the way that you say things to them will give them the warmth and the excitement about you're acknowledging their piece of work, and you can tell them what they can improve upon and how they can move forward. So that's a really good technique that you can use that is quite quick and can transfer to the students so they can improve their work. But feedback is absolutely crucial. Do not let that one out of your sight.
So with that then, what about those children who still aren't finding it easy to be engaged? Ideally, I want them to be motivated. I want them to think creatively, to be curious, to be excited to go and find out new information and learn new skills. What about those students who just still aren't engaged in anything that is not directly given to them? They're not excited about independent learning.
Okay. Well, you said aren't interested. Often when we're not interested, it's because we lack confidence and we feel that we're just going to keep being told we're not doing it right, we're not doing it right. And we all lack confidence in different times. So what we've got to try and do is develop students' resilience to working as a self-led learner, because this is a skill for life. This is not just a skill for the classroom. This is something they need to take through with them for their entire life. So, and they're going to be problem solving on all sorts of fronts. So we need them to be able to do this. So the first thing is, help them to learn in slow, manageable chunks, because what we want them to do is to build their confidence slowly. So we need low stakes, low stress tasks. So if you were thinking tomorrow morning you're going to do something, what would be a low stake, low stress task for them to do?
For them to watch a video overnight to come to the lesson ready for what the topic was.
Okay, so they're watching it. They can do that quite easily, can't they? You could do a quiz, or there's a polling function that you can use where you ask the students to come, just like you've said, they've watched something, and you might ask them to come with a question, or you might have a look at the work that they've done in the quiz, and it'll show you the misconceptions, and you can start building your lesson from there. Flipped learning is also another good model with your videos. That would be really useful. Okay, so you're starting a new concept with your students. It might be that you either find a video or you make a video that's more pertinent to the learning that you want them to have. And they watch their video, and what's good about it is they can repeat it several times, rewind and re-listen to the areas they're not sure about. And you say to them, in the morning, you're going to come, and in the chat function, I'm going to ask you to write down one thing that you weren't sure of, the question that you want to ask, so that, because if I don't understand it, it's quite likely that there'll be another 10 children in the class that don't understand it. So let's write down one thing we want to learn, understand more about, and then I'm going to ask you around the room to tell me one thing that was new to you, that you were excited about to know. Straight away, you're getting them to talk, you're getting them to write, you're getting them to engage. Slow and sure steps like that will start to build up their resilience.
That's brilliant, thank you.
The other thing I want to say to you, though, because it's really important that you understand that there are some direct keys that you've got to build up in stages for the students. One, try and use their interest and their passions when you're devising their learning lessons, because that gives them a focus, it gives them a confidence to talk about something they know about. And there are real ways to do that. We're creative as teachers, so think about that first, and you know your students. So, and the more you know them, the more you can include. Secondly, we don't ask students enough how they can help us plan a lesson. So you might be in the middle of a lesson and we might say to them, okay, so we're going to learn this. You might want to get them in groups or individually to try and work out, how do I learn best? What would I like to do? How would I like to approach that piece of learning? Because if you've got ownership in the learning, you're more likely to invest in it. You're more likely to meet the challenge head on, even if there's a struggle with it. So get them to do that. Build a culture of collaboration, because actually that mentoring and creativity helps students, especially if students are talking with the same language. Sometimes our language confuses students, but students talking to students is really helpful. Make sure that we acknowledge them, their work, feedback, absolutely crucial. And think about rewards that you can give them to show them small steps of progress. And they can do their own self-acknowledgement of where they're going as well.
How would you reward them online?
So digital badges is an easy way to do that. Have a look, see what you think. Another way that you might want to show them their own progress, because it's good to monitor your own progress, is you could have a progress tree, for example, where you put some of the competencies you want the students to develop. And when they do something well, they can go and they can put something on the tree, or you could have a trophy shelves, and they put a trophy on when they achieve one of the competencies. For depending on the age of the student, might be you do something slightly different, but they're monitoring their progress and acknowledging it in some format that they can see, in some simple, quick way that they can record. I hope that's been useful to you and given you some ideas.
That has loads to think about, thank you.
Brilliant.